start screaming at me. Okay, well, it's really nice to be here today to just give you a very quick overview to our school. So my name's Mairi, I'm the head of the School of Biological and Marine Sciences. And I guess I'd just like to spend a few minutes telling you a little bit, obviously, about our school, and then obviously the subject group talks will go into a little bit more detail about some of the more specifics. So our School of Biological and Marine Sciences, we have 3 different subject areas, which are biological sciences, marine biology and marine sciences. But there's a lot of overlap between those 3 areas, so they're not completely distinct. We overlap both in research interests and in our teaching interests. So we see ourselves as a very cohesive school, not rather than 3 completely separate groups. And our management group is made up as representatives from each of those areas. In terms of our size, we're a relatively large school, so we've got roughly 65 academic staff. People always laugh when I don't know how many staff there are in the school, but obviously we have some staff who are part-time, so that's why we say roughly 65 members of academic staff. It's not that we don't actually know who's in our school. And we also have quite a significant number of technical staff in our school, because of course the areas that we're working in tend to be quite technical and involve both lab work and quite a lot of specialist marine equipment. So we need a significant technical assistance in order to make sure that those facilities and equipment are properly supported, as well, of course, as our students who are working in those areas. Our school is generally extremely research active, so we only have 3 members of staff within our school who are on teaching only contracts. Everybody else in the school is on research and teaching. The vast majority of people are on both research and teaching contracts, which mean that everybody is carrying out research. And that then filters through into a very strong focus in terms of teaching on research-led teaching. And we pride ourselves in that, I think, that we bring research right to the students' door and try to get them involved in our research, both by telling them about that in our teaching, but also actually actively involving them in projects. We also like to think of ourselves as being a very committed and approachable bunch of staff. I think that's something that generally, as well as being very committed to our research, we're really committed to our teaching, and that's reflected in very high overall satisfaction scores. So over the last 2 years, we've had, this year our overall satisfaction scores across the school was over 95% from the NSS. So that's our national student survey that I'm sure probably most of you will be familiar with, and a year before at 94.8. So we're getting consistently very good feedback from our students about the quality of our teaching, and that's also, it's about overall satisfaction, but we also do very well in feedback directly on our teaching. Generally, I think this sort of echoes what Kevin's just said. Our recruitment for undergraduate programs, we have 9 undergraduate programs, and you'll hear a little bit more about those in the subject level talks. Generally, we've got very strong recruitment. So this year, for example, we over-recruited to our undergraduate programs, but generally speaking, that's mostly from home, national UK students. And we'd really be keen to try to broaden that and have far more significant international reach in terms of attracting people to those undergraduate programs. We also probably, well, definitely in the faculty, we have quite a significant postgraduate portfolio. So our postgraduate portfolio makes up about 1/3 of our annual new intake of students. And we attract more international students to our postgraduate programs than we do to our undergraduates. And as I said, we're very keen to continue to increase our postgraduate international students, but also particularly for our undergraduate areas. In terms of league table position, I'm sure that, obviously this is relevant. I'm sure particularly internationally, it's something that people are interested in. It's always quite difficult because our subject mapping never maps directly to schools, and this is true across all of our schools. That the league table subject areas generally will include programs in our school, but also programs in other schools. So there's no direct map to any particular league table category that just is unique to our programs. But generally speaking, we are consistently in the top half of league tables. I've just listed the Guardian. So for biosciences, our Guardian league table position is 45th out of 105, so in the top half. Earth and Marine Sciences is again 19 out of 34. And for the Times table, Animal Science, 8th out of 16, Biological Science, 47 out of 98, and Geography and Environmental Science, 34 out of 66. So we're consistently doing, well in the league tables, and that's been consistent over a number of years. We would obviously like to continue to improve that position. But if you look at the metrics that make up the league tables, the things that we do very well in are the student-facing elements of the metrics. So student feedback on our teaching, those kinds of metrics, which is great and something that we're very proud of. I think something that characterises our school is that we try to have a very strong programme identity. So each of our programmes is quite unique and has its own unique team of staff that looks after it, including a programme leader. We have individual residential field courses for all of our programmes, and those are unique to the programme. And I think that fosters a very clear sense of identity for students, that they really belong to a particular programme. And I think students again give us good feedback on that element of the way that we organise our programmes. I'm sure you'll hear more about kind of some of the our approaches to teaching in the later talks, but we have a focus, I guess, on two things. So we have a very good tutorial system, so students do get kind of good one-to-one contact with individual members of staff through both one-to-ones and small group sessions. But we also have a very strong focus on experiential learning, and I'm sure again this is something that will be true across the whole faculty. So across our subject areas are obviously, as I said at the beginning, very technically based, and we have a lot of both field and lab work embedded within our programs. We still have a focus on students in their final year doing individual projects where they're working individually with a member of staff on a research project. And that's very important to us, that students are learning by doing things rather than, as well as sitting in lecture theatres, they're actually out in the field or in the lab. And we also have very good opportunities for placements, exchanges, and so on. And again, I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about that in some of the talks to come. I've just got two more slides that I'll go through very quickly because I'm aware I'm already at time. We've got a number of research groups within our school. And this, I guess the point of putting these up is perhaps to just give you an indication about the subject expertise that we cover. So animal behaviour, coastal processes, ecology and evolution, marine conservation, environmental and applied biology, ecophysiology and development research, marine physics, coastal and ocean science, and marine biology and ecology research centre. So it's quite a broad remit in terms of the kinds of areas that we're covering, right from physical oceanography right through to animal behaviour and welfare and pretty much everything in between. And the subject level talks will cover that. And just finally, before I finish, that's also supported by some very significant facilities. So we have a purpose-built marine station that was effectively entirely refurbished a few years ago. So whilst other universities have been drawing back from investing in these kinds of facilities, we've been purposefully investing in them. So we have a fleet of 5 vessels. We have a diving facility there, and those facilities are not just for research, they're obviously for teaching as well. We have a large range of different laboratories and specialist equipment. We have greenhouses, aquaria, the electron microscopy centre, a number of different controlled experimental facilities. And as I said, these are facilities that we like to see students using, and not just for our research activities. And finally, we also have a number of very strong local partnerships. So with the Marine Biological Association, which is also based in Plymouth, and with other organisations such as Paint and Zoo that we run. Both of these organisations we run joint master's programmes with. So there are good opportunities for students to have a kind of wider network than just within the university. Okay, that was a very quick run through, but hopefully that gives you a general flavour for the kinds of things that we do in our school and the kinds of things that are important to us. And I think now I pass over to Louise, who's going to say a little bit about the marine biology subject area. So